Thank you, and I give the call to the member for Fowler.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the motion relating to the childcare sector in the terms in which it appears on the notice paper. Access to high-quality, affordable and sustainable early learning services is important for many families, especially in electorates like Fowler, where we have a significant disadvantage, and more so now with the cost of living crisis. However, the government must also address the workforce shortage that the sector has been crying out for. I'm moving this motion to provide some urgently needed practical solutions following my consultations with childcare providers in my electorate of Fowler. It aims to address the demand for childcare service the bill will create, the current workforce shortage, and to better meet the needs of workers, children and parents. In my electorate of Fowler, there is a high percentage of children from culturally and linguistically diverse and refugee backgrounds, an indicator that there are special needs and would require additional support, in particular for low-income families. Development vulnerability needs to be addressed early, as it becomes more expensive later. There is so much at stake socially and financially if we continue to get this wrong, and so much to gain if we get it right. I met with Kindy Kids at Ensa Park, Kids Matter and 3 Bears Childcare in Cabramatta, Growth Mindset at Bonneric and Kids World Kindy in Bossley Park, and thank them for their valuable time in sharing their experiences with me and their commitment to families of Fowler. The feedback was unanimous in the forum. Burnout is huge in the sector. Staff shortage is across the board. There is a huge increase in children with diverse and special needs, and there is not sufficient government support to cater for this growing need. As legislators, we must transform how the childcare sector is viewed and valued by inspiring young people to be part of the sector, offering important opportunities for upskilling and better conditions to encourage people to stay for the long term. Workers in the field say they're often thought of as just glorified babysitters. I want them to know that they're not, because they play an important role in caring, nurturing and teaching our young Australians. We entrust our children in their care, and as a government, we need to ensure there is legislation and policy to better support the sector. I propose these solutions to increase the number of early childcare teachers in the system and easing the shortage, such as simplifying the New South Wales staffing ratio to be equivalent to the National Quality Framework, simplifying early learning cadetship training model so that candidates can upskill to an early childhood teacher and study at the same time, or have their level of experience to be taken into account if they want to become an ECT. Removing the need for university students who are already working in childcare facilities to do their practical course at another provider. These demands are removing a valuable workforce from the current employer. We've also been told that there needs to be additional funding for the Inclusion Development Fund subsidy to help support the inclusion of the growing number of children with diverse and additional needs. Providers with over 15 years' experience have told me the increase in children with diverse and additional needs is unprecedented, especially in my electorate of Fowler. The current funding model is not working, and the process to apply for inclusion support workers is burdensome, and there are out-of-pocket costs for the providers, with many centres stressing they cannot afford the out-of-pocket costs. These centres are not immune to the cost of living crisis. Currently, the government funds the service $25 an hour in order to hire an inclusion support worker, but the true cost for this additional staff member with superannuation, work cover and leave is about $35 an hour. This additional staff member is crucial to ensure the children's needs are met. This is a recipe for disaster for all involved. There are children and families who need additional support but cannot access a service provider, or sometimes the focus on special needs often means other children miss out on their required attention and placing huge burdens on teachers. I recommend the government cover all employee costs of inclusion support service. And lastly, families in Western Sydney are missing out on crucial subsidies due to the childcare subsidy application process. The process must be simplified to ensure families where English is a second language are not missing out on this much-needed subsidy. I ask the government to seriously consider the practical solutions I put forward in this motion that will immensely support the childcare sector, children and families like those in my community of Fowler. Thank you.
Thank you.